So, we are live and we have this quick Q&A about music production. And if you have any questions about that or mixing or working with artists or writing contracts with artists or whatever, please put it in the comments and I'll try to answer it as soon as I can. I get pretty many questions on an almost daily basis about how things are, how I do things, how I create my atmosphere, my vibes, and everything from what guitar tweaks to tweak, or what kind of drum sound do you have there, and all that. And I always want to talk a little bit more and more focused on the process instead of exactly what tools I use, because I believe that this is a craft and this is something that you can really learn. But you have to put some effort into learn the craft and learn the skills. If you have the skills, you can use almost any tool in the world, any music tool in the world, and you will find a way to create music. So I'm going to start out with one of the questions for you today, and it's a very, very typical mixing question, and that is, do you use compression before or after the EQ? How about that? And my answer is not going to be fun at all. I'm going to say it depends, and of course it depends on what your ear is telling you to do. If you find that EQ after the compression sounds better, then it is better. If you found that the compression after the EQ sounds better, then it is better. And what is better? Some of the things to look for is to look for the S's and the change of the S emphasis on if you have compression before or after the EQ, because the difference can be quite huge. And also, if you have, on the internet you hear a lot of stuff like you have to take away the stuff you don't need first. And yeah, that might be a good thing in my opinion as well, to get rid of the things you don't want. Maybe some rumble in the low end or some muddiness, depending on the source, depending on the sound, depending on the situation, but somewhere between 150 and 300 hertz. That could be something, and to remove that before, because you don't want to exaggerate that before you have any context to it. So that is not going to answer that question, but in my world, if it sounds good in your ears, then it is good. And it's all about ear training. If you have trained your ears to hear a certain thing, then that's the most powerful thing. And then you will hear directly if that song, in that context, if the EQ should be before or after the compression. So that was that. Okay. Another question will be something like this. How is it to work with artists in general? Okay. I have the opportunity to work with a lot of different artists, many different styles, from musical to rock, to singer-songwriters, to classical violins. It's many different styles, and that is one of the things that I love the most: the versatility, and that you can really learn from all different types of artists. And and if it is a difference between working with a violinist and a very modern type of artist that wants to have a very, very clear and very pitch-corrected voice. Because a violinist may want the sound to be more natural, and the other person might want his or her voice to be more hyped and into the tune of everything else on the radio. But the versatility is wonderful, and people are different, and sometimes they're not different. And there's so many things you can learn from the artists. So, pay attention to what the artist needs and not exactly what you want at first. Try to pinpoint, the needs of the artists and try to help them. And if you help them, I'm sure they will help you. So how's that? What else? Drums. Your favorite drum sound. Oh, wow. My favorite drum sound, of course, when you're working with samples, I don't know how many bass drums I have. Maybe I have kicks. Maybe I have 3,000. I don't know. But I find myself working with like 10 because depending on the situation, but if you have some kind of machine or some kind of virtual instrument that you find always sounds good, and then you can tweak the sound a little bit, then use that. It's better to have one machine and to know that well than to have 20 machines and not know them at all. So that's the same thing with, let's say, compressors. I don't know how many compressors I have in the computer. 30, at least. But I found myself working with maybe 3 or 4 and try to learn them. They don't have to be complicated, but you learn the style of them. You learn how fast they work, and you learn the sound of them. And you learn, when it comes to compressors, you learn how they affect the EQ. That's something that many people forget. To run a sound through an EQ, change the tone of the sound as well in terms of frequencies. How about that? So I know that it's a famous mixer producer called Jack Joseph Puig. He said something like this, that I never use, let's not use compressors as volume enhancers or to increase volume. I use it to change the timing of the sound with the attack and release and, all the other different knobs. That's very interesting, to change the timing, the feel of the sound, instead of just bring the sound up there all the time to be very frequent and stable. All right. What else? Is it something that you wish you knew before? Oh, wow. Of course, there's some things that I wish I knew when I was 20. I'm not 20 at this moment, almost the double. And but still, I find this. I believe this is a big journey when it comes to music production. And I started 1999 with working with other artists, and I have failed so many times. I made the most embarrassing mistakes all over the place, But that's how I learn. I fail and I get back up again, and I fail again, and I get back up and I fail again, and I failed a couple of times on the same thing, and then I realized I actually got a little bit better. So that's how I do it, and I don't know how you do it, but trial and error. That's my philosophy. Of course, if I knew that some effects will change the sound in a certain way of a certain source in a different way, blah, blah, blah. 20 years ago, my mixes would sound different today. Not necessarily better, but different. So my life would have a different outcome in terms of music making, but not necessarily better. Okay, what else? Vocals. How do you treat vocals? How do I treat vocals? That's a huge question. Okay, let's just bring some things up to the table. The vocals is the most important thing. And what do I mean by that? Well, that means that you should pay the most attention to the vocals. You should pay a lot more attention to the vocals than sub bass or the hype of the high end of some tambourine or whatever, or some noise, or the background piano that nobody notices at all. You want to spend as much time as possible on the vocals, because vocals is the most important thing. I have never find a project, or unless it's an instrumental type of track, then it's something completely different. But other than that, The vocals is the most important thing, so treat it the best way you can. And yes, I want you to pay attention to the sixth guitar in the background. Yes, I want you to mic that guitar very, very nice. But compare it to miking up and spend time with your vocalists and working with a microphone is huge. That will make a huge difference. And not necessarily the seventh or eighth guitar in the background. So just to keep things short here, the vocals is the most important thing. Bring that to your heart and make it feel something. You know. Okay. What else? Is there a way to learn audio production without going to school? Yes, of course you can learn audio production without going to school. I have I read a lot of books. I have made a lot of mistakes. I have a lot of experience in time, and I've also watched a lot of videos like this. And you know, you add up all that together. I totally believe that you should read books. I totally believe that you should watch videos. I totally believe that you should trial and error. But you know, and it all sums up to something that's called your taste. And the taste is actually what you sell to your clients, you know. There will never be a way for a music production company, person, whatever, that, okay, his or her productions are better because this person have more has go to school or more education. You know, it's all about taste, and I have developed my taste, and you know, hopefully people like it. I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't, and that's just the way it is. And I want to have fun while I'm doing stuff, and you know, you add all those things together, and you end up with something called the taste. That's what you sell. Remember that, because that is important. What else? Can you show a cool thing, a cool clap pattern with your hands? Oh! Yes, I can. What else? Can you hold lessons more privately on? Okay, yes, I can hold lessons on the internet, on the channel, and I want you to become a member of the IWM YouTube channel, and that's going to be a lot easier for you and me to do that. Yes, it's possible. Also, I can have Q&As like this about mixing, about music production, about creativity. I'm a big fan of creativity. I think that there are so many things that you can learn how to be creative, but you know, it's very, very unique from person to person about how you find that creativity that makes you do something, that goes along with your drive and that makes you create music, I guess. But I can have private studio tours and all that. And first of all, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, and we'll take it from there. What else? Bass. What's your favorite bass player? Wow, what's my favorite bass player? You know, I'm going to answer this in a pretty different way, but I believe that my favorite bass players is the players that that really sing through the bass, that has a musicality, that they think in melodies, even though it's bass low in the low frequency area most of the times, and because they have a role in a band, so to speak, to be the bass, one of the foundation keys to a great band. But you can still play in a musical type of way, and some people just feeling it, you know, they are in the situation, in the bass lines, and they sing through the bass, and that's the kind of player and the playing that I like. So I'm not going to give any names, but that's what I like. Okay, one more. Can you show us something that you have done, okay, that you're proud of? Okay, so there are many things that I'm proud of, and I would say that the thing that I'm most proud of is my versatility, that I can work in different genres. Of course, I have my go-to genres that I love, like funk, like gospel, and when I just sit by the piano, it tends to go in that kind of way towards funk or gospel because I love that. That's one of my, it's part of my experience, part of my growth and childhood. But one of the most important things here is to make people feel good, whether it's your artists, whether it's your clients, or whether it's you as a viewer. You want to make people feel at home. You want to invite people. And I hope that I'm doing that in a way so that people can want to watch my videos. I hope so. If you don't agree with me, please put it in the comments as well. But that's what I want to do. That's my strive. That's what I aim for, to make people feel good. And to people, my motto for the company is feel is music. And what does that mean? Well, I believe that feel is so much connected to music, and music is so much connected to feel. So that if I create something that makes you feel something, then I am happy. Doesn't have to be good or bad feelings, but you have to feel something. I want you to feel something. So if I do that, then I'm happy. And yes, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. So that's all for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel or also become a member of the channel. It's absolutely free and it will make me very happy and also make me create these videos more. All right, until next time, take care. Feel is music. Bye-bye.